Well, good evening, or maybe I should say good morning. I'm shooting this in the evening, but I'm going to schedule this to go up in the morning. So, since it's the evening, I'm in the bunker, and if you hear noises around, it's because the family is stomping around everywhere, and I don't tell them to be quiet just so that I can make a video. I hope you all had a good Memorial Day. I want to do a short one here to talk about the importance of you getting ready for a recession that I am now starting to see a whole bunch of flashing lights telling me that it's coming. And I know that a lot of people have said, well, it's coming for a long time. It's difficult to tell these things. A lot of times people won't know that they've been in a recession until they come out of it or are halfway into it. But I've seen some things that I'm going to share with you. At the end here, I'm going to tell you share some information about the upcoming gathering, this summer's gathering here in Kansas in July, and tell you about how to get my books and everything like that. But right now, a couple of things happened today that made me realize, and so that's why I thought I'd get this one out of the way, that made me realize that the recession, is probably real close to coming upon us. And I was just talking about this to my oldest son, who has really taken an interest in the economy and real estate and things like that. I keep track of certain things, the prices of certain things. And the reason that I come at it like this is because I've owned businesses through several of these corrections. The dot-com bust around 2000 when everything started coming apart. I owned a gym and I was publishing a martial arts magazine. And so when you're involved, and then in the 2008, when that hit, the real estate bubble crashed, Kelly and I owned a tanning salon. When you own a business, you see certain things. It kind of depends on what kind of business you own. But when you own a business that depends on discretionary spending, meaning the money that people have extra that they can spend on things they don't really need. Okay, martial arts is one of those, and reading martial arts magazine is one of those, and gym memberships is another, and tanning is certainly another. And so when you own a business that relies on discretionary spending, you're one of the first people to start seeing spending habits change that would kind of foreshadow or warn you about what's coming up. And I'm seeing those things starting to happen for serious now. Now, people have been talking about what's going to happen with the interest rates, and Powell has just said he's not going to lower the interest rates. That is very interesting. The things that I saw, and I'll give you, and this is just, I'm not giving you financial advice, but I've been there, done that. I've owned businesses for many years, and I see what's coming down, and I'm sharing with you what I look at. I've seen several things that show me that the recession is coming. And this is in addition to the mess that who knows how bad the mess is going to be with this election year. I keep track of the prices of certain things. I keep track of the prices of real estate, of boats, of RVs, and of vehicles, and certain kinds of things when they're. What I've seen is, and just last week I started seeing more houses up for sale. And that's unusual in this area. If you look back to the housing bubble burst in 2008 or so, around this area, which is a very affluent area, you would find a house for sale on almost every block. And what that was is people had overextended themselves. They had bought a house that the house of their dreams. They wanted to get in, and when all of a sudden things happened that because of a contracting economy, people were losing their jobs or being cut back, or if they owned businesses, Those businesses weren't making as much money as those who owned restaurants or any kind. And as I said, that depends on discretionary income. They were seeing a reduction in their income, making it more difficult for them to make their house payments. And a lot of people lost their homes back then. If you recall, a lot of people, especially out in places like California and places, a lot of people ended up underwater in their homes, meaning that they owe more on the home than it's worth. We had people out in California that had $600,000 mortgages back when $600,000 mortgage was pretty, hefty. And all of a sudden their homes are worth $100,000, and so they're $500,000 in a hole. We're not around here. It wasn't nearly that bad, and I'm in eastern Kansas for those who may not know. This tends to be a much more stable area. It doesn't it doesn't boom as much in the boom times, and it doesn't fall as much in the bad times. But still, there are fluctuations that can affect people. And so, just last week, I started seeing an increasing number of for sale signs around here, and that's usually a warning sign, because even though it's at the end of the school year, most people who are going to move at the end of a school year, their houses are up for sale more like in March and April. But we have just seen these just now going up, which is different. My son, when we were talking about this, he does DoorDash, as some of you know, and he likes to concentrate on a couple of neighborhoods that are particularly affluent. And he says he can't believe how many houses are for sale out in those areas. Now, for the most part, those aren't areas where people are like being transferred, it's not usually a volatile real estate market. It's a good market in that people are always wanting to move into it, but usually it's rare when houses go up for sale from there. Usually by the time people get into that neighborhood, they're for the rest of their lives. That's where they've wanted to get, and there you have. And he says he can't believe how many houses are for sale in that area. I was looking at boats earlier this evening, and we're always looking, we're thinking about getting a boat, and I couldn't believe how much the price of boats has come down. That means people are needing the money. They have a boat, they're, for whatever reason, they're not taking it out, they're not, whatever, times are tight, people sell their boats. Another thing is I have seen in certain areas, and it's not going to be across the board the same everywhere, but I've started to see a softening in real estate prices. And some of that could be because of Powell's decision not to lower interest rates. I mean, people buy houses according to what they can afford a monthly payment. And so the higher the interest rate, the lower the house price has to be to allow a person to buy it. The lower the interest rate, the more you can inflate the house price, because again, people will get, they want to know what they can afford on a monthly payment. And with Powell saying they're not going to lower, they don't foresee lowering the interest rates as many people had anticipated they might. Well, that's kind of taken the hope away from some people who were hoping for lower interest rates. So anyway, so we're seeing the softening of real estate prices in some areas. Probably not all areas. Not in mine. Where I am, I don't think that it has depreciated in 30 years. We always appreciate in this area, which is good. I mean, there's good and bad, and I won't get into that now. But in other areas, we've seen the softening of some prices, and I've seen some softening of prices in the more rural areas. Not all rural areas, but in some, and that's just a sign that I'm seeing. So when I look at those things, housing prices, land prices, prices of boats, prices of vehicles, and real estate sales, that's showing me some signals that a recession is coming. And a lot of people say, well, I've been in a recession for some time. Yeah, I mean, that can be a personal thing, but I'm talking about something that really affects the entire economy that nobody can escape. Now, how can you prepare for it? How can you escape it? This is where your financial stability comes into play, your financial preparedness. And I harp on this all the time. Those of you who have been with me know how often I talk about the importance of you becoming financially stable or independent, even. And a lot of people don't want to hear it. A lot of people in the preparedness world, they don't want to hear about finances. They want to hear about beans and rice and guns and bullets and building fire, stuff like that. And yet, in this world, it is your financial stability that enables you to do everything else. And so right now, what I would suggest is if you are stable in your job, that's the number one thing. That's the number one thing. That would be better if you had more than one income stream, and you've heard me preach this before. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. If you work a job, that's great. You've got a job, but things can happen. A lot of people lose their jobs in recessions, and then the next step they lose their house, and then they lose their family, and it's a horrible situation. That's why you want to insulate yourself. That's why financial preparedness is so important. Now, at this point, I don't suggest that people start paying off all their debts. It kind of depends. I don't want to really get into an economic talk here because too many people just don't understand it, and too many people who don't understand it will come on and argue with me about it, and then that misleads people. Understand the difference between secured and unsecured debt. Okay, you want to make sure that you are making your house payments or your rent payments, and hopefully it's a house because real estate is an investment. Okay, if you're just renting, you're just blowing your money. You're not building any equity. But anyway, make sure that you are making your most important payments, your mortgage payment, your car payments if you have car payments. Make sure all your utilities, get ahead of them if you can. If you run into financial problems, the unsecured debts, credit cards, if you have credit card debt, that's at the end. Okay, they can't take your house if you are late on a credit card payment. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are taking care of those secured debts first. While you can, before everything starts to crash, think about, and it could also be accompanied with another shortage, a supply chain interruption. Realize that. If you have the money and you can afford it, stock up those things. If you're not already stocked up, stock up on those things that you remember being short of during 2020. I mean. Cleaning supplies, toilet paper, soaps, all of those things. Get them in so that you're not spending. So as inflation increases, you're not spending more money. Now, if you don't have extra money now, don't put yourself in debt to get more stuff. Okay, don't do it. Reduce your spending as much as you can. But more important than reducing your spending, and I know the old, a penny saved is a penny earned. Well, that's true. As a matter of fact, a penny saved is more than a penny earned because you don't, well, for the most part, you don't pay taxes on what you don't spend, right? You don't pay taxes on the dollar that you didn't spend. You pay taxes on the dollar that you did spend. And that goes down a whole nother path about being in control of your tax situation. And that's only if you own your own business. I'll get into that maybe another time on the other channel. If you can, now's the time to bring on another income stream. Start a part-time job. Find a part-time. They're still out there. But if the recession hits like I think it might, they're not going to be out there. And a lot of people who are losing their jobs during a recession are going to start going after those part-time jobs. and then they're not going to be there. So while they're still there, if you would like to, increase your monthly income a little bit, go get one, go get two, whatever. Put that money aside. You might lose this is preparedness. This is very basic preparedness. This is responding and planning for and preparing for the what ifs, right? What if it happens? Okay. What if you lose your job? That's going to be the wrong time to be looking for another job, even a part-time job, because if you're losing your job, so are thousands of others, and they're all going after you. You got 50 people going after that one part-time job that right now is just kind of hanging out there. They're hoping somebody will walk in the door and want that job, right? Think about other things that you can do. Can you start your own business? Do you have a skill that you can make money at? This is the time to start thinking about that. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because my main purpose here was to warn you that I'm seeing signs that make me think, that I recognize from previous recessions, that make me think that it is now coming. And, how soon it's going to be here, I'm not even going to try to guess. It's going to be here. That's my feeling. And the sooner you get on to preparing for it, the better it's going to be for you, right? Okay. So that's it. Oh, I said that I would make an announcement about the books and about the gathering. The gathering, if you want the information there, you can get it over on the Patreon channel. The link is down below. It's July 13th in the eastern part of Kansas. It's on the Kansas side of the greater Kansas City area. It's going to be a great time. Information every time I put a video like this one goes on YouTube, but then I also put it on Patreon. And when it's on Patreon, then I put the links for information on the gathering. Okay, and then you can get all the information there, and you can register for it. It doesn't cost anything. We just want to know how many people are going to be there. It's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it. As I said before, we're sold out of my books, the Stonemont series. We've got another load coming, and people ask, well, does that mean I can't order books from you, signed books from you, Steve? No, not at all. It just means that I'm out now, and I can't fill any more orders until I get the next load in from the printer, and so everything's on back order now. But we should get it in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll start getting them out again. And that all of those, if you want them in a hurry, get them through Amazon. Okay, and the links to the Amazon and the link to our website, stonemont.us, if you want the books directly from me, are both down below. Check those out. What else was there? Seemed like there was something else I was going to tell you, but if not, I'll come back tomorrow and tell you that. Get ready. What this recession is going to look like? Hard to know. It's impossible to know exactly because so many things are coming together. It's coming together at that we already have big economic challenges, right? The instability in the world, and that this is the year of a major, maybe the most major ever election. And as I said before, I think we are coming into a summer of violence. All those things put together make this a very unstable situation. So take care of yourself, prepare. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And the time to get ready for a recession is not when it's on you. It's when you're starting to see the signs. So get out there, and I hope you do something. You all have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.